I'm going to make a game. That's what I've always told myself growing up. I remember playing my first real RPG in Fallout 3 and how it made me feel, and how I wanted more of that. I went on to play the rest of Bethesda games like Skyrim, Fallout 4, and of course Obsidian's little project New Vegas. These are the main games I grew up on, and I knew I wanted to make something like them that other people could get the same feeling of what I got. Of course, I know I'm not about to make the next big open world RPG, but if I can make a game even a fraction of what those games were to me, I want to try. I've messed around with game engines before, like RPG Maker, Copper Cube, and even Unreal. I decided that for myself and what I thought I could achieve on my own, RPG Maker was definitely the right choice. I didn't want to have to rely on buying assets from an asset store. I wanted to have something I could truly call my own. I've started and abandoned a few projects in RPG Maker before, but they helped me kind of understand the engine. It had also helped me with my pixel art, as I've never been a very artistic person, as you can tell by the images of my early work. For the game idea I have, I was inspired by games like Ellen and Kenshi. I want the player to feel like they're a part of the world, not necessarily the star of it. In my head, I want a game where there's quests for the player to do, crafting, farming, the whole 9 yards. I wanted a little bit of everything. But realistically, I think I'm going to start with just one nation, a decent sizable map, flesh out as much of the game as I think I reasonably can, be it the combat system, maybe a few side systems, some quests, and then we'll just kind of grow from there and see what I think I can accomplish. I don't really have a time frame for this game. I kind of just want to work on it and see how far I can go in my spare time. It's not like I'm anything more than a hobbyist, but I just want to see what I can do. The first thing I did was wrote down all of the systems I had. I had a few days because I was at my parents' house sitting, so I didn't really have much to do. I spent all of this time going over GDC talks and other game dev videos, or design videos, just talking about games and what you need to be what mindset you need to be in order to have a good cohesive world. So I decided to write everything down. I got the backstory of the world, I had the nations set, and I had a bit of diplomacy and what it would be like when the nations interacted with each other. Once I had a foundation of the world set, I decided to work on the map. My best way for doing this was I just drew everything up by hand with very rough sketches and formed the first nation. I did it this way so that way I could just sketch out what I wanted, and that way I didn't have to make assets on the fly. I could just kind of know and have a very strict plan of what I wanted to make as I went on. Once I had the map drawn out, I knew the next step was to work on the art. My art has always been very rough in the past. I never watched any tutorials or anything like that, but this time was going to be different. I really wanted to apply myself. So I sat down and I watched a few tutorials, and I feel like I did much better than I expected. It's not great by any means, but for me it's much better than I thought I could do on my own. I started with some sprites, and then I slowly worked my way to a couple of tiles, a couple of tree assets, cliffs, and then just eventually adding a little bit of everything. Right now I'm still in the early phases of just doing art. My plan is to get the majority of the art done for the maps so I can have a template to build out of. Once I'm done with that, I think I'm going to work on quests, and then the battle system, and then some side systems. This is all I have for now, but I wanted to make this so I could keep myself grounded, and I could go back and watch my progression as I move on. I also think this might help me stay motivated and make me feel like I'm actually working towards something, as when I usually abandon projects, I just lose sight of the end goal, and I feel very strong burnout. But I feel like with the progression I've made so far, I'm still feeling good about it, and I hope I can continue. Thank you for letting me share my progression with you so far, and I hope next time I have even more to show you. Thank you.